Hi, my name's Rich Boren, and today, as part of our Schenker Watermaker Tech class, we're going to talk about a question I get all the time at boat shows and over emails. And that's, is RO water, is desalination water or RO water or Watermaker water, is this water safe to drink? I get this question all the time. The short answer is yes, but let's go into some details as to why and address one of the common questions I get about safe drinking water. So first, reverse osmosis, or an RO membrane technology, that's a desalination technology that is basically a molecular filter. You're removing 99.7% of a sodium single molecule and a chloride single molecule, basically salt, which is what the majority of seawater is. So you're removing that, meaning those molecules cannot pass through the RO membrane. There's a 99.7% rejection rate. So while freshwater molecules can travel through the membrane, salt and other contaminants are whisked away and exit the Watermaker membrane as part of the brine. So one question that's always there, no one really wants to ask it because it doesn't sound fun to talk about. You're at anchor, you know your neighbor's boat hasn't left that acreage for weeks at a time. You know their holding tank's not that big. So what if you're making water when your neighbor pumps out? Of course, no one would pump out in an acreage, but we know how things work around the world out in the reality world. And sometimes people do pump out in an acreage. Or maybe you're making water and your brother-in-law, who you told how to use the marine toilet, forgot and pumped out while you were making water. Is any of that waste product going to get into your water tank? Again, the short answer is no. But the reason is, if you look at a molecular size of a sodium and a chloride dissolved solid, those are orders of magnitude smaller than a bacteria, a virus. To put it into perspective, a salt molecule would be the size of like an olive, and a bacteria and a virus would be about the size of a washing machine. So they're just not going to be able to pass through the RO membrane. And that goes for pharmaceuticals, chemicals, pesticides. Anything larger than a sodium and a chloride ion are simply not going to pass through the membrane. Now, particles, if you happen to suck in some solids, those are going to be stuck in your pre-filter. Doesn't sound good for the seawater to be passing over that on its way to your membrane. But chemically, scientifically, none of those bad things that are floating in the seawater, fish poop, seagull poop, sea lion or whale poop, none of that stuff, human poop, none of that stuff can actually pass through the RO membrane and get into your drinking water. So you're perfectly safe. Now, my rule of thumb in general, because people ask me, Rich, do you make water everywhere? Well, sometimes I do because I'm lazy, so I don't want to jerry can water pretty much ever. But if I wouldn't go swimming in the water, I would not want to make water in that water. That's kind of my general rule of thumb. Because the 5-micron pre-filter that's in every brand of Watermaker as their final pre-filtration, that's going to remove anything large enough particle-wise to get stuck and clog up your RO membrane. Anything smaller than 5 micron goes right through. Anything larger gets filtered out by the pre-filters. Because remember, the RO membrane is doing dissolved solids, not particles. Well, it doesn't let particles through as well, but its purpose is for dissolved solids, things that are in an ionic form inside the seawater. So no matter what anchorage you're in, the RO water is safe to drink, even if your neighbor next to you happened to pump out while you're making water. So as bad as it sounds, you're safe to drink that water from a bacteria, virus standpoint. You don't have to worry at all. So that's it for today's Schenker Watermaker Tech class. If you have a topic you'd like to see me talk about, just shoot me an email, and I'll be happy to make a video about it and add it to the tech class library. And these Schenker Tech classes also apply to many or most Watermaker brands out there. So they're helpful for the greater cruiser community as well. Everyone have a great day and enjoy your Watermaker.